Hello everybody, FunshineX here. Welcome to another episode of Solo Operative Games. Today we're going to talk about Tabletop Simulator. It's a game on Steam. It's going for about 20 bucks right now. And it has been a pretty lifesaver during this pandemic shut-in here that we've got now. Basically allows you to play almost any board game on your computer. With physics and everything, and multiplayer if you want. If you want to play a multiplayer game right now and you can't get together with a gaming group, this is a great option. If you all don't mind paying the 20 bucks to get it. It's a great investment because you pay for it once and then you can get a lot of games for free. There are DLC that you can buy, but you don't need to, and that's what I'd like to explain today a little bit. I've been addicted to it. I've had it for like 2 weeks and I've got like 50 hours logged on it. So yeah, it's great. So if you start up Tabletop Simulator, you get this interface. You can join if you're joining a multiplayer game, but I go into create here. And I usually do a single player game if I'm playing singular, but hot seats sometimes required if the game is scripted to require a certain number of players. You can do hot seat mode and then like play multiple players, that kind of thing. But a lot of games have solo options, and that's what we're here to play. So let's start with a single player game. And you see it's got this classic games, all your dominoes and solitaire. If you want to play that, be my guest. But let's look for some more stuff. DLC is the stuff you've got to pay for. And look at this list. It's some pretty good big games, right? You got Scythe up here, Viticulture, some very top level games. And these all go for 10, 15 bucks. I don't know. But you don't need to buy them because you can go in the workshop and you can see I have 3 pages full of games here. But you just hit browse. I hope this doesn't show anything it shouldn't. Like in my account, that kind of stuff. I guess you guys all know my Steam account. You do now. Yeah, so here you've got the most popular games aren't really the most popular. I mean, Madar's pretty cool and Splendor's pretty cool. There's the Frosthaven demo. You could go play Frosthaven. We're getting into some other big name games here, Terraforming Mars. But it's better just to go up and let's just sort by strategy games. That seems to be a pretty good one for sorting by strategy. And then I'm going to put most popular, and not just 1 week, but let's put it like 6 months. So we get a good ratings, because a lot of these games, people just don't rate them. They play them and never rate them. And now look at the games we're getting. We're getting like Everdell, Abomination, Rise of Frankenstein, Sherlock Holmes. These are big games that if you wanted to go play right now, you either probably couldn't find them, or you'd have to wait for Amazon to ship them and pay 50, 60 bucks for these. Someone made an Animal Crossing board game. So even fan-made games, but people can take a game and script it into Tabletop Simulator. And a lot of the games, they even script the interface, I guess you could say. So a lot of the things like, cleanup phases or sorting the deck, laying out the setup are automated for you. And so in those cases, these these electronic games almost are better than the board game themselves. Because a lot of the complaints about playing a solo board game is, I've got all this setup that I have to do myself because I've got no one else to help me set up the game or tear it down afterward. Well, you don't need to. If you tear like this game, this game has a thing called flip the table, and when you're done with a game, you just flip the table and all the pieces just go flying all over the place because it's all physics enabled. Called Adventure is the Batman animated series game. Never played this. But yeah, so you can just search for pretty much any game. You're likely going to find it unless the publisher has blocked it, I think is what is happening on some games. So if you like Viticulture, you will not find it. Some people have done Spanish versions, but if you read these, they say requires the DLC, or if you click on them. So if there's a DLC out of a game, they're probably going to block all of the fan-made games. So just certain things are missing and you won't find them, but most games you will. As evidenced by, if you go back to my list here, name a game, and it's probably on here if it's in the the top 100 of Board Game Geek, and I actually care for it, right? Some of the games are just not my style, but I mean, On Mars, you can get that right here. What was the other one that's like not even out? I'm not sure I have it downloaded. I can't remember what it's even called. Yeah, but there's games that like are only on Kickstarter right now that haven't even shipped that you can get. So let's go in and let's just kind of see what you can expect to get with a lot of these games. They're all going to be different. Some of them are going to have, nice instructions on how to use the interface, and some are just going to be, here's the game, do what you want with it. Some are going to have the instructions inside the online game. Some are going to allow you to go online and search for the PDF. So let's take a game. Let's. I don't want to go into On Mars. That one's takes a while to load because it's got so many things. Here it is, Ankh. Ankh Gods of Egypt. I don't think that's even out yet, right? And you can play it here. The one we were just talking about, Frosthaven, right? You can't get Frosthaven right now. So let's go to Guide Project. That's one that it's a hit right now. Everybody's talking about it. Everyone loves the solo play as opposed to Terraforming Mars, as opposed Terra Mystica. That's got a little more unbalanced solo play, or hard to set up, that kind of thing. So here we go into this world. You can see it's all physics-based. It takes a little while to load. If you got a bad internet connection, it might take longer. But this one's got like these Google tablets, and if you allow it to, it's going to open a URL on that Google tablet. And see, it's got two of them here, so we'll let it open both of them. And you can see, if we hold Alt here, this is actually the rules on an iPad like for the game, which is just like silly, right? So if you ever need to like reference something in game, you don't even have to Alt Tab out. And if you can get your mouse, it's a little bit hard sometimes, so I'll go over the interface later, but this little button here where that red button appears and click it, that actually brings up a full like window that's actually going to stay up. I don't have to hold down the Alt button like normally. But yeah, here's all the rules for Guide Project, so you could read them, learn how to play right here, reference them whenever you have a question. Again, this is fully multiplayer enabled, so Guide Project plays 4 players, so you could get some friends, probably get on Skype, Discord, Zoom, whatever, Google Hangouts, whatever you want, and talk to each other, share video, whatever, but you've got the board games here, and you can all join a private server. You can put a password on it, or you can play with random strangers if you really want to. So here's the third thing it's asking us. Do you want to randomize all objects in the zone? This one's not very clear on what it's doing, like what zone are you talking about? So you just kind of have to say, well, I think it's going to work, and it does it. And it's actually got 3 of these. So we've got 3, 2, and 1, and bam. And you can see actually what it did for Guide Project, at least. Let's spin around a little bit here. It did all of the setup for us as far as the technology tiles, the round scoring, the end game scoring, and it might have laid out the map custom as well. That's an if. I'm not quite sure. But look, if you open Gaia Project right now, you would still be setting this game up for another 10 minutes, right? I've already talked for 8 and instantly set it up. So that's one thing I really like about Tabletop Simulator. So as far as the mouse interface and scrolling around and moving things. So if you've used WASD, that's how you kind of like pan around the game, which is good. You can go look at your player board, go look at the map, go look at the scoring, that kind of thing. You've got mouse wheel to zoom in and out. So sometimes you got to zoom way in there to read some small little text. If you hold down right mouse button, you can spin it. It's kind of like a first-person video game, right? You've got full limited things. And then you've got left mouse button can select different things. So you can select multiple tiles, or you can just select one tile. Hold it down to pick it up. A lot of the things are weird because they come in a stack. Now, if I hover over this, let's see, this one maybe? No, these are not cards. I don't know if there's a good example in this. Okay, so they've got these baggies, right? And this says, okay, this is your extra actions tokens. There's unlimited, right? They might be limited. Some games say, oh, there's only 12 in here, that kind of thing. If you want to pick one out, you just like grab it and drag, and it'll come out, and then you could use it, as normal. But if you want to ever pick up the bag, you click and you hold down. And you see this one actually won't let me do it because this bag is locked. But if I hover over it and hit L, now I've got a hand icon. I can grab it, hold it until it picks the bag up. Now I can move the bag. So if you don't like where things are, just move them. But yeah, see, I quick selected there. It grabbed a piece out of it. But if I click and hold, it'll grab the bag itself. A lot of games have snap points so that they know that certain things like these markers, right? It doesn't go right there. It knows, oh, you either want 5 or 6. You don't want 5.5, which is really nice. It keeps it organized. Not every game is good with that, especially like when you're laying out a bunch of cards or something. Sometimes they don't snap correctly, that kind of thing. One of the really cool things that maybe you don't know, I talked about the Alt button. There's an M button, which also is just a magnifying glass if you want it. But I like the Control 1 through 5 buttons here. So let's say I'm playing a solo game, right? Here I've got my board. I'm playing the Gleans apparently right now. That's the one it gives you. But I can go Control 1. It said saved camera 1. And let's go over and let's say this was the Atoma player playing the Dershworms. I can hit Control 2 and save a camera there. Let's save a camera up here on the general map. Control 3. Oops. And then let's go over to the tech board, science board, whatever you call it, Control 4, and let's go to the scoring track and hit Control 5. I've just saved all those cameras, so now if I want to hop around easy, I'm going to be like, crap, I don't remember what was on my player board. I can now hit Shift 1, we'll go to my player board, Shift 2, anything I've saved, and I can just quickly hop around the map and look at things, which is really nice. So that's pretty cool, because one of the problems with Tabletop Simulator in all its glory is that looking at the entire table like you can with a normal board game is a little bit different, challenging, because I can't read things up here while I'm looking at my player board. It's just, not possible. So you do have to do a lot of scrolling, and that can take some time to do that. Another thing is, if you want to pick up multiple items, this is something I see people go, oh, 1, 2, 3, and then they do this, and then they grab a bunch, right, and bring them over here. You don't need to do that. Instead, you hold down left mouse button, and then you right click. Yeah, I've got 3. So you can do that. So you can pick up multiple things from a bag or a stack of cards. Things where you need to draw 5 cards or something, you can just left click, hold down left click, and then right click. And you can always drop them back in bags to put them away. If they are unlimited, let's say I've got this thing, it doesn't work on the planet. Let's say I've taken out a power, these 3 power, and in Guide Project you delete power sometimes, and these are, I can dry them all the way up to put them in the bag, but that's got unlimited tokens, why bother? Just hit the delete button, they're gone! Just don't accidentally delete your player token, right? Oh no, it's gone. What do I do? Well, hopefully you don't have to restart the game. There is an undo, so you can rewind time. I think only the host is allowed to do that, really. But the other way is, if I've got another player piece that I can copy, I can hover over this and Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and there, now I've got another one. So be careful when you're deleting things. This is a physics game, so if I go to move this over and accidentally throw it, oh, there it went! It's gone. But most games will return pieces to the middle of the table somewhere. Sometimes they're under cards, and you'll be like, where did it go? And you have to find it. But most games are pretty nice about if you throw something off the table to bring it back. So yeah, what else? This game is pretty cool because it has all the solo stuff here if you want to play the solo mode, which is great for us. Look, it's got an alternate thing. Oh, flipping, right? A lot of times you have to flip a card over, right? You just hover over it, hit F. And if it's supported by the game, let's say a Federation token, right? That's a good one. It's green now, but I've got to go up there and I need to flip it. I just hit F and I flip it, and now it's on the gray side. So you'll be doing that quite a bit. What else? Oh, if I hover over something and I draw it, let's see, I've got to be actually a current player. So let's change my color. I'll be the yellow player. So I hover over this bag and I hit draw. What is that going to do? It's actually going to take one of these tokens and put it in my hand. It doesn't really work for Gaia Project because there's no hidden information, right? You don't have cards that everybody shouldn't see. But in other games, maybe you do have a hand and you don't want them to see it. If you draw to your hand, nobody else can see it. They see the back side of the card, whereas you will see the front side of the card, whoever the active player is, right? So if I draw something, or I can deal, let's see, I'm the yellow player, so I can deal it to myself. Let's also deal something to red. Okay, well, red, I don't know what it is. It's a mystery because these don't have backs. They're just markers. But in a card game, I would see the card back. So like if you're at the beginning of the game and you know, okay, well, every player needs to have 5 of some card. Well, I just go deal and I go red, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to yellow, 5 to green. You can deal out cards that way. That's pretty cool. You can also, if you need to draw it, hover over something and just hit the number that you want. So I want 2 of these tokens. Okay, it drew me 2 tokens. Cool. What else? Certain things like this game, I believe, has some automation. Maybe not this one. There's a scripted version. So yeah, a lot of times when you search for a game, you'll find multiple copies of the game. I usually go for the one that's highest rated or most downloaded of those, because you know it is. But some will say like fixed, and they'll and you go look at the description and it says, oh, this was a bug and I fixed it, so maybe download that one instead. There's also one that says scripted, and that means there's usually some kind of automated feature, like you know, when we started the game and it asks us to randomize everything, or there might be a button that you push to like set up the field or to do initial card draws or to do a cleanup phase. You know, that kind of thing. So the scripted versions are really nice if they work. Some of them crash because the player, you know, whoever made it. These are just regular people. These are not the board game designers, publishers making this. It's just some fan of the game that said, I want to make this into a tabletop simulator game. So let's look at some others here. We looked at that one. Let's go and get Star Wars. This one's pretty cool. Very popular game right now. Has a good solo mode. Again, it's going to try and open a website for us. Just make sure it's not opening something bad. Who knows if somebody modified the original mod and put in some nefarious site here, right? So Google Viewer, yeah, I think that's fine. And that's just going to load things up on the little iPads. But yeah, look at this game. It does take a while to load because it has a lot of graphics here. But if you look at this, it's like there's a setup game button. And it even got a little note card. The guy says, press the setup game after choosing your characters to place all tokens and draw the decks. So that's pretty cool. It's even got something here. It says the number above your board is your total number of credits. So this game has a script that if I drag a 1,000 credit token and put it on my board, like anywhere, it counts it up for me. And as soon as I get rid of it, it updates. That is a really nice feature. I can say that, like, to know that is automated for you. So one thing, and then like here in this game, you want to gain fame. It's like your victory points. You can just, rather than pick this thing up and move it, and there's no snap points really, you just go, oh, plus or minus, right? I can just add fame like this. If I want to increase my reputation with a certain faction, hit the plus button and it moves it up for me rather than trying to drag it. So a lot of these things are just, you know, quality of life improvements to make the game easier, because that is a drawback of Tabletop Simulator, is just the interface of moving around, grabbing stuff, you know, having to like grab this thing and then scroll way over here and put it down and then go back, you know. So here's another drawback. Tabletop Simulator games are going to take about 1.5 to twice as long to play, at least at the start. Once you get really good at setting up those cameras, knowing some of the hotkeys and things, you can, and especially a scripted game, you can get it down to where it's similar to the board game version. But plan on, at least at first, the game's taking a little bit longer, especially if you're new to this interface or explaining to somebody else how to use the interface. That's even harder. So one thing cool this game has is I can go select my character. We just had Star Wars Day yesterday, right? So maybe it'll be Han Solo. I can drag my card, and as long as I put it somewhere on my board, let's say it says I'm the yellow player right now, so I guess I'm over here. Believe this is where your card goes. Right in there. And Han Solo's, I know, whatever. It says place setup game after choosing characters to place all tokens and shuffle all the draw decks. So I can hit setup game now, and it's going to set the whole thing up. And now I'm ready to go, apparently. It's reset my fame, it's randomized all the contacts, tokens, shuffled all the decks of cards, so I didn't have to do that. Imagine how long it would take to separate all 60 cards here or whatever, and 70 up here, and sort them out and shuffle them all. You don't have to do that. You know, if you like to play deck builders, Tabletop Simulator is going to blow the board game version out of the water, because as many times as you shuffle, especially if you've got sleeved cards, so it's hard to shuffle, this, you just go, oh, that's another hotkey, right? If I want to sort this, right? So one of the aspects of this game is if I don't like a card, I can put it on the bottom of the deck. Now, there's not a really good hotkey for that other than I can flip it over, grab this whole deck. Remember, long click, you got to click and hold until a deck comes up, put that on the bottom, and now I'm going to move this back here, and all I have to do is hit R, and that will shuffle it. R is for roll, but if a card deck, it's going to I guess it's for randomize. So I can shuffle all these decks just as many times as I want. Whatever. Doesn't really work with tokens, like what's it going to randomize here, so that's where the scripting comes in. But yeah, in a deck builder where you've got to play cards, flip them over, shuffle them, I can do that a lot faster than you can. Yes, awesome. So that's Outer Rim. I'm definitely going to do a solo playthrough of Outer Rim on my channel, and one of Gaia Project as well. Let's go through some of the other stuff in DLC. If you've got a super popular game and you want to know if it's on here, let me know, and I'll search it and let you know in the comments. But here's Root. In my board game collection, I have Root, but only the base version. So I don't have the Clockwork expansion to do the really nice solo Automa, or I can't play some of the other races. Here I can. So that's another plus on Tabletop Simulator, is I can play games that I don't own. Whether that's against copyright, different kind of infringement laws. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't answer that. To tell you the truth, I don't know how Tabletop Simulator actually exists, because all of these pictures are licensed, right? All of the game content is licensed by the publisher. And most of them, if you look in either when you're downloading the mod, or sometimes it's in the notebook here, they'll say, I don't own the rights to anything. This is just, all the rights are owned by this other individual. And I guess that's their out. But until the publishers take them off or sue or something, I guess we're here to play games as many times as you want. So if you see a Kickstarter game and it's got a tabletop version, if you've got a really expensive game and it's got a tabletop similar version, come here and try it out. See if you like it. If you like it, go buy it. Support the publisher. If you don't like it, then you actually did the publisher a favor, because I don't know. It helps. I think it helps. Sale games, right? Because if publishers put out quality product, people are going to buy the game. Because this is not, even as good as it is on Tabletop Simulator, it's not the real experience. And so if you really like a game, you're going to buy it. You're going to put in money, right? If they make a crappy game and it doesn't, show well, then that's on them for making a crappy game and trying to sell it to people that won't actually end up liking it. Rant over, I guess. So yeah, we've got a ton of games here. A lot of them have solo, some of them don't, obviously, because I have a gaming group that I've been playing with. Legacy games, that's another thing here. If you bought Pandemic Legacy, right, that's a 12 to 18 games average, and then that game is done with. And I think that's still an incredible value, because what game do you play 18 times? Very few. In my board game collection, very few at least. But if you are concerned about that and you don't like that, Pandemic Legacy is on Tabletop Simulator. You could play it, destroy cards, throw them off the table, delete them. This thing's got a little portal you can throw things into. Yeah, you can do that and then just reset it. You do have to, here's another thing I'll say, is that if you want to save it, you come up to games and you hit save and load and you create a save. So we're playing currently in a game of Twilight Imperium, and here's another plus for Tabletop Simulator. That game is a really long game, and a lot of times when we sit down to play it, there's been a couple times where we haven't finished, and that's really depressing, right? Because you invest 6 hours into a game and you don't finish, and then somebody just says, oh, I won because I had the most points. No, you didn't really. We never finished. You did not win. But here, we can play as long as we can. People say it's time to go. You can see it was 2 o'clock in the morning when I saved that version. Ready to go, so we just saved it. And we'll come back and play it again when we can get together again. So another plus. You can save games. What else? What was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah, saving a game. So when you go to games, go to save and load, and then type the name. and then it'll save it for you. They don't take a lot of space, so you can feel free to save as many copies as you want. Here's Gloomhaven, $100, or come up here on Tabletop Simulator and get spoiled, open up all those boxes, right? Don't tell your friends that you opened them up. They will never know. Guys, I think that's about all I have to say about Tabletop Simulator. It's been a lifesaver for this time where we're all stuck inside without our gaming buddies. Here you can go online, either play the solo games, play the multiplayer games, and feel that void of board games. So let me know. I've definitely got a few planned that I want to put on my channel here that I'm going to start producing as soon as I finish this video. But if you think you have a game that's got a really, really good solo mode game and you'd like to see me add it to the channel, then let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Catch you later. Bye.